Thursday, July 5th, 2018.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a moment of silence for those killed in our newspaper shooting. Thank you. Pete?
Okay, I sent around an email about the auditor's offices trying to set up the audit exit conference. I know, Matt, you did respond that you're available from the 12th to the 15th, or still 14th and 15th are Saturday and Sunday. So,
Well, I work 7 days a week.
well, me too, but.
So do I. Sunday's good after church.
Yeah.
What day is that?
That'd be the 15th,
I come down about 1.
maybe. And they gotta come from.
I must have been looking at June. So
Yeah.
in July, I'm happy to do it on the weekend though, but the 11th through the 13th, I'm fine with. And we have
Yeah,
a commission.
there were some dates the auditors gave. The 11th was out for them, and then I think the 23rd, 24th, and 25th they couldn't do. But anywhere in between there was fine.
Maybe we can just do it right after our meeting on Thursday.
Yeah, like at 1 o'clock or something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
That sound good for everybody? That's what I'll tell them?
What date?
The 12th,
Yeah, that's fine. What time?
1 o'clock, say?
Well, no, let's do it earlier than that.
Let's do 11.
Like 11, yeah.
Okay.
Where's my agenda?
You say, you tell us we're gonna be done at 10:30.
Well, that's without any closed sessions,
We don't have
and
any.
it's also with Judge Delamater, so I kind of gave him a little bit of extra time, but
That's why I like being, we have to be
Well,
somewhere.
we
at
could,
11.
if we make a decision today on what he's gonna talk about, then you'll need to come in,
okay.
which I think I know what he's gonna talk about.
It's just, yeah, some funding increases. I
Which
think-
I've already talked to you guys a little bit about. I'm just gonna reiterate that again today.
Okay, so next week after the meeting.
Okay. Might as well get into that. You know, I brought this up about the funding from DYS, what they're, you know, this, 4 different projects that they were gonna fund. It's essentially, it's an 80-20 match. 80% from the state, 20% from us. We have to send in copies of quotes on each one of these projects. But as I talked to Krista, and she said that just because, you know, that's the quote, that doesn't mean that's the price we're gonna get. We can go to other places and possibly even get it cheaper. Just so you know, because what I would talk about, like the last time, was this pipe chase insulation project. What Krista told me is, that's approved at 100% because we had other projects and other funding we had done. There was money left over, enough that's gonna cover that entirely. So that, between $7,000 and $8,000 project is totally funded. All right?
So, the 80-20, what you're trying to say is based on what the estimate is,
Right.
and if for some reason we can get it less, 6 months from now, then we can use that money?
Well, I think we can, they still probably have to run by the state folks to say, hey, we can, can we use it for this? And they'll go, probably, yeah, as long as you have some left over. Okay?
Okay.
So, I mean, what it is putting us on the hook for roughly $63,823. That's our 20% share of a new security camera system, new radio system, gym floor, and a battery backup system. We have monies in contingencies. set aside for capital projects primarily, because remember, we went through all that list in the budget, and somebody said, well, let's hold on those ones, and,
How much was the bottom line number?
but 63,823 is our share.
That's our share.
That's our share.
Where do we get that?
That's what I was just mentioning. I think should use our contingencies in our general fund, or you could take it out of the capital improvements fund.
Definitely not.
Definitely not what?
I'd do it to contingency.
Right,
It is a contingency.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's fine.
So if you're okay with that, then we can tell Judge Delamere, and he don't need to come in here. They need to get our approval on this for them to get this to be awarded. Otherwise, it's sitting there in limbo until we agree to this. Okay? And I'll get with, we can get with Chris to see what she formally needs from us, if it's a
Okay.
resolution or just a motion, or if they've got something for us to sign or whatever.
Do you want to do a motion now, just in case that's what they need?
We could.
Would make sense,
Sure.
wouldn't it? That way they can get it going.
Second,
Mr. Monahan? Mr. Old?
yes.
Mr. Shenigal?
Yes.
Okay. Last week we talked a little bit about that request to have a, tree planted down at the courthouse, and of course you guys asked me to check around with other administrators if we had any kind of policy on that. I think all the county administrators are on vacation this week because I've got no response from anybody on that. Along with that, I told you guys about how the Supreme Court had ruled that, one state had filed a claim about getting sales tax on remote sales, and they approved that. I also asked those, my colleagues about had they contacted CCAO about, jumping on that bandwagon and getting our legislature moving on that. But like I said, must be all on vacation. I've got no response. So I'll keep after that. So, when we did the, fiber optic networking lines, it was a project we did about 5 years ago, with Ohio Telecom in one community. Well, that first 5 years is coming due this October. So we have options to renew those, or, I know Tim has been talking to Ohio Telecom about, getting some other options. And both of these options look pretty promising. We're paying $10,600 a month for the fiber. The next option, the last 5-year option, was gonna be a 15% decrease at $9,010 a month. Tim is doing some pricing and may get that down to around $7,000 a month. On the phone piece, I still gotta get an accurate number on what we're currently paying, because it was supposed to be $9,688 a month, less $1,200 if JFS dropped their PRIs. And I'm not sure if we're there, but the second 5-year option was to take that price down to $6,800 a month. Tim's working with Ohio Telecom. They're dropping that to, we got a proposal to drop that to $5,800 a month.
That's for the equipment?
That's for the phones.
Equipment.
That's for the service.
Oh, not the equipment.
Well, I
'Cause I don't think we
guess-
bought the equipment, did we?
I'm not real sure about that, Pat. I think it might be the equipment as well.
Yeah, I think so.
What we are looking at doing is replacing essentially the software and some minimal hardware, like some switches. Yeah, I think that's in the price, the actual phones, desk phones. But and the service as well. They're suggesting that we put a whole new software, because we're on a really old edition and there's no upgrades to it. but they're
Ma-
talking about getting a new one.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. They would split the cost of 25,000 for that.
How
and
much?
Split it of 25,000 to replace the software and some of the switching equipment. And then we would buy all of the hardware, and then, but then for 5 years, the maintenance would be like 48,500 upfront. So it's essentially it's pretty much a trade-off, if you will. But I'm just letting you know we're working on it, just trying to give you some ideas of what we're working on. Also, out of the State House, I don't know if you guys are aware, but they did approve funding the elections equipment, okay?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, they did.
Funding all of it?
I'm gonna get to that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. I know originally we were hearing it was gonna be a 15% match. What they did was they set aside, $114.5 million, which they're getting through certificates of participation, which is kind of like a bond or borrowing money. I mean, usually you use those when you're backing your payments up with like a lease or something like that. Well, I don't know how they're doing this financing, but anyway, we're getting 114 million. 10 million is going towards the folks that already bought systems, okay? Now, the rest of the $104.5 million, they're splitting up, as every county will get a base depending on their population size. So if you're under 20,000 population, you get 205,000. If you're between 20,000 and 100,000, you get 250,000, so that's us. Anybody over 100,000 population gets a base of $406,000. And after all those monies are allocated to their bases, then they're gonna take your number of registered voters as of July 1st, 2017, and proportion that to the state's total of registered voters at that day. Got all the numbers. That says that we are gonna get the $250,000 base. The proportion allocation is $517,453.
517?
Yeah. So from the state, we'll get $767,453. We still had, remember, we put $300,000 aside out of the sunset sales tax, and then we used our 15% share of the electronic poll books. There's $284,553 left. That gives us a total of $1,052,006. Hopefully that's the math we'll get from the state. Now, I do recall the last time that they got their quote, it was well over $1 million for the equipment. I want to say in the neighborhood of 1.2. I think our stance should be is
Figure it out.
get what you can get with it. We're not giving you any more.
Well,
So don't we have a reserve set up that we've been putting money into?
he
Yeah.
just said that,
Yeah.
300,000.
$284,553.
300 must the books.
Yeah, right,
Maybe that was 284,000.
yeah.
All
So
right,
that gives them over $1
well, in the
million.
end, I'd like to not spend that.
Huh?
I said I'd like to not spend that. I wouldn't be so free with it. Just,
Uh-huh.
you know, the place I vote, I've asked every one of those girls for 2 times now, how's it working? And they go, great.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Did you know we need new stuff? And they go, why? I said, I don't know. Somebody has a friend that sells polling equipment, it sounds like.
Yeah, but again,
A lot of directives that keep coming down left and right from Columbus. I mean, I haven't looked into any of those, but.
yeah, they're
they
squawking
send
about
directives out,
cybersecurity.
Like lunch menus from
Yeah.
Secretary of State. I mean, every day there's stuff coming out of there.
Yeah. Eventually, they're essentially gonna cost us nothing but more money.
Is that a,
Because I can just imagine this new system, what the maintenance on this will be. It'll be probably double what the old one was. I mean, that's the real cost you gotta
Yeah.
be concerned with.
you know, to be curious, do they dictate what equipment you buy? I would suppose.
It will be because,
Well, there's approved vendors.
there's
Yeah.
approved vendors that are out there.
Yeah,
In other words,
so it
Department.
is a friend.
In other words, this is like cooperative purchasing. You've got people that have already bid on this stuff, and those are the ones you can go to.
Yep.
You know, the pricing's already factored in.
I think the Board of Elections is often using the vendors they've been using because everything's compatible and so forth. Seems like.
Well, I think this is all new, so I don't think there's nothing about compatibility that it really matters at this point. So, well, we'll see.
We shall
Um,
see.
Let's see. Also out of Columbus, again, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there was a issue about visitors convention bureaus, about them saying that, you know, county commissioners couldn't sit on those boards. Well, I guess they passed legislation saying, no, that's fine. You can do that. So actually, we got an email from Larry Fletcher from Shores and Islands asking if we would consider our appointment to that new governance board. They'd like to have that person in place. They're having a meeting, I believe, next, on the 12th next week, I believe. Yeah. I don't know.
I
Maybe
thought it
it's-
was on the 11th.
No, you're right, it's on the 11th, Wednesday morning.
It is, yep, 8:30.
So he said that they, Ottawa County picked their representative, Commissioner Stahl over there, so he's wondering if we would pick our representative, so we can have this person in place and on board for the meeting on the 11th. Because they're having a meeting with both VCVs.
I'll nominate Pat Shenigo be our representative.
Second,
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo,
yes.
Mr. Monahan.
Yes.
That's all I have, gentlemen.
Public?
Well, we got
Two resolutions.
We all agree, by motion, change our local agent of record with the County Risk Sharing Authority, Corsa, from Gardner and Sprayer Insurance to UIS Insurance and Investments, effective July 1st.
Second?
Mr. Monahan,
Yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo.
Yes.
If you agree, please appoint Melissa tomorrow to the Board of Development Disabilities.
Second?
Mr. Monahan,
Yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo,
Yes.
Motion to award Erie Blacktop 50% OPP, Gardner, and 350U for the engineer's office for here in Erie Road widening and resurfacing.
Second?
Mr. Monahan,
Yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo,
Yes.
Motion to award Erie Blacktop for Perkins Avenue resurfacing.
Second?
Mr. Monahan,
Yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo,
Yes.
Releasing any liens or claims, the liens against property now or formerly owned by WWH Investments.
Second?
Mr. Monahan,
Yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo,
Yes.
Authorizing the county auditor to make supplemental appropriations.
Second?
Mr. Monahan,
Yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo,
For the purpose of releasing any liens or claims laying against property now or firmly owned by Darlid and Deborah Lewis.
Second?
Mr. Monahan,
Yes.
Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo,
Yes.
Authorizing drawing of warrants for payments on amounts due upon contract.
Second?
Mr. Monahan, Mr. Old,
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo?
Yes.
Releasing any liens or claims of liens against property now or formerly owned by Greg Didion.
Second?
Mr. Monahan?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo?
Yes.
Okay, this, the one with the one is what you want?
Yes, please.
Authorizing the county auditor to make a budget modification and supplemental appropriations.
Second?
Mr. Monahan?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo?
Authorizing the county auditor to make an interfund transfer.
Second?
Mr. Monahan?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo?
Yes.
Entering into an agreement with Classical Construction Incorporated.
Second?
Mr. Monahan?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo? That's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Mr. Monahan?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo?
Yes.